As we turn our focus to food safety now, a 13-year-old boy has died after allegedly consuming snacks from a local spaza shop in Khubvi village in Limpopo. Now, 3 other boys are receiving hospital treatment, prompting concern from the provincial government. According to Premier spokesperson Thilivhali Muavha, a task team has been appointed to investigate this incident and a separate case where numerous children were treated after eating food at Makahlule Primary School outside Malamulele 2 weeks ago. Let's now stay with food safety issues, and we speak to SABC News reporter Hasina Gori. Of course, Hasina, that NATJOINTS briefing earlier on, and we do get a sense now that this is being treated as a national security threat.
And that NATJOINTS briefing was meant to take place yesterday, postponed to today, 12 o'clock. At 12, they waited or said that it will then start at 12:30 to wait for the media. But as we were setting up and waiting for the NATJOINTS chair to come and brief us, we were told that due to unforeseen circumstances, that briefing was now postponed indefinitely. We were told one of the reasons that could be is that those that are the affected parties had not been briefed on the information following this investigation. We know that the provincial Gauteng police did give a briefing on Thursday, and they mentioned that they did find some significant information inside 2 of the spaza shops, specifically in Naledi. But when they briefed the media, they said they were not sure at this case whether criminal charges will be brought against those within those stores. So we were hoping to get a better sense from NATJOINTS today that this is a national issue. As you mentioned, just looking at the cases, it's not isolated to one area. We've seen it across 3 provinces, but even in the province, it's not isolated to one specific area. We've been in Bronkhorstspruit, in Naledi, Soweto, but also in the East Rand, in Tembisa. We were just there this afternoon speaking with the Gauteng Education Department. They had a case 2 days ago, just recently also, but with a different contamination. So it seems that there is a concern, it is an issue, and we need to understand what is this foodborne illness. It could start at schools with children, but can affect and impact those with autoimmune, immunocompromised bodies, or it could affect the elderly, and we could have another listeriosis breakout like we saw a few years ago with Poloni.
And of course, you talk about, this issue because in conversation with the Health Minister, Dr. Malamulele, he was saying that through that extensive statement as well, that they're trying to paint a picture of a government that's taking this as serious. There's a national security threat and all of that. But a lot of residents are still saying, if you're investigating, let us know, because you're talking about this chemical agent, but information needs to trickle down to the residents as well, because they are also now wanting to know what is behind this and what should they be looking out for.
And that's what we heard from the NATJOINTS when we did try, getting an understanding that the loops were not closed. We were with one of the victims' families, Monica. She was 6 years old and she passed on. The father described that, there were 4 neighbors that played together daily, and all 4 children passed on after they consumed snacks. They're still unsure. They actually felt that the way the communities reacted to the looting may have jeopardized the case, because now the evidence may have been removed. But also what's interesting is that substance that were found to be used inside the spaza shop, it's not only used within spaza shops, that even households to deal with the rodent issues in some areas are also using it. So information had not been trickled down to them on whether that investigation and where it was. They did say they were speaking with the government, that they've been assisted, but we know that they didn't know yet the cause. They were waiting to find out that cause to maybe ensure that it doesn't happen to another family. And these are just the comments we consistently hear in Bronkhorstspruit last week, when they wanted to shut down the warehouses in the CBD area where Zitobeni was, where the impacted area was. They were told by police that they will be doing operations. They asked the community to allow them to do their work. And one of the criticism from the community was that police come in and they shut down these areas, but give it a week or 2 or a month, and these areas and these shops just resurface. Community criticism also on that inspections are not done unless there is this outbreak. It's always when an outbreak happens that they go in, that there's not measures. It is an irregulated informal industry that needs to have some kind of measures in place to ensure we don't see contaminations like this.
Especially because you're talking about this issue of rodents. We also have been speaking to a number of people as well, including someone from the environmental and and safety, in the city of Ekurhuleni, who are saying that in some cases, somebody will spot rodents at their own stall or a shop, and then they try to get a chemical in order to deal with this, but not store the chemical far enough from the food, because they are simply just thinking that they're trying to protect their food. But that cross-contamination also can happen there as well.
And that's been, one of the concerns, that this could have led to the deaths, that even the handling of these substances, where they're putting it into little packets and then they do not properly sanitize themselves, being close to these foods, where you are also a cross-contamination between while you are packing it and then serving customers, and these all lead to cross-contamination. It might not be where they were legitimately or doing it purposefully, but now you find this issue happening. And also, if it's happening within people's homes where they're now using that same substance within the house, that also brings in a whole new era that we need to look at. And we spoke with the Gauteng Education Department, looking at the fact that it's outbreaks in school, what education is being done. This case in Tembisa specifically, it was children that were selling acha that they were supplied by an adult, selling it to their friends in school, and 16 learners then end up sick. There's no measures, regulation in place for where they got that acha. In another case in Sharpeville, if I remember correctly, it was these items, these chocolates were thrown out because they were outdated. Child comes home, the child steals it and takes it to their friends and sells it at a minimum cost, and ends up having 70 kids finding themselves in hospital due to food that was not expired, or food that was expired and not properly got rid of. So these are issues that we need to bring into and really look into when we talk about food safety and food hygiene.
And it's going to be an interesting one, especially because Matume Chilwana, the MEC, said to us here on the show that they're now going to ensure that they, the schools actually know that the issue of handling is quite a huge one, because they do know it's in the policies, but why is it not being, enforced? It's another issue altogether. But Hasina, thank you so much for that. Appreciate that update there. That's my colleague, Hasina Gori, bringing us, of course, the very latest as far as that NATJOINTS briefing that was supposed to take place is concerned.